Look at that. There we go. Ha-ha! Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. My name is Jesse. Let's get a audio, video check. Make sure that you guys can see us and hear us, and we will get started on the show. Loud and clear. Thank you, Goshawk. Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. The rootinest, tootinest, Sasquatch poop on my bootnest show on YouTube. My name is Jesse Doyle. This is Joe, and this is a freeform show we do every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Hellbent Holler YouTube channel. On here, we discuss Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, ghoulies, all of that good stuff. And today we're going to be going over our latest video. We'll get into that in a minute. Joe, would you like to say hello to the fine people out there in
YouTube land? Hello,
YouTube
fine
land.
people out there in YouTube land. So,
all right. Well, we have a couple of things we need to go over before we get started on the show right now. Joe's going through the chat right now to see what is up, what you guys have to say. And let me go ahead and get all of this stuff out of the way, and then we'll dive right into today's topic and today's show. So, this is official now. We have to tell you guys. We are going to be at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. As you can see here on the official flyer, we are right there, dead center. Joe and I will be on stage at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference in Gatlinburg, Tennessee on July 26th. So that's going to be in the middle of the summer. It's going to be hot, hot, hot. And we're going to be bringing the heat to Gatlinburg. And it's going to be too hot to eat pancakes, but damn it, we're going to try. But we're going to be there with Jeff Meldrum running.
I bet he's ecstatic, by the way. Jeff Meldrum shared the stage with us. I bet he's on cloud nine right about
cloud
now.
nine.
Yeah.
He looks very excited on this flyer. Yep. Jonathan Dover, Ken Gerhardt, and then RPG is going to be there. Adam Davies. And then we're going to have a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Joe and I are talking about what we're going to do. I know a bunch of you have seen us do presentations before.
But nobody's ever actually seen our presentation because we've had audio-visual problems every time we've tried to present it. So you've seen us speak. You've never seen the presentation.
You've never seen it go off without a hitch. That's for sure. Because it seems like we have audio and video problems every time we try to do a show. There is something that goes wrong. At CryptiCon, it was a nightmare. Tennessee Wildman,
it was a nightmare.
So let's hope that the audio visual setup for Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference is good to go. If not, we'll do it live, right? So, but Joe and I have been kind of mulling about what our presentation is going to be.
And we have no clue.
Focused on.
No clue at all.
It's definitely not going to be the same presentation that we've done at Tennessee Wildman and CryptiCon. I think we've retired that after CryptiCon. Maybe that's why it was messing up. It was the presentation itself was cursed. But yeah, we're going to be at that. And I actually have the schedule here. It looks like Joe and I will be going on at 11 a.m. So we're going to get that out of the way, out of that Bigfoot round.
Immediately start drinking at 11:30.
Yeah.
By about 3 p.m., all bets are off.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Yes.
That sounds great. I know you can have a hot dog at 9:30 there, so I think we can have whiskey at 11.
Yep.
So I think that is well within our rights of doing that. But it's going to be right after the Bigfoot Roundtable hosted by Adam Davies. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is a really good lineup. This is a solid lineup. I think everybody that is on the bill on the show is everybody has their own opinions of things. Everybody has like very different opinions of everything. And I think
I fully expect it to turn into like a lot of really vicious arguing. I think some feuds might be born.
I think especially if you're starting in on the Jameson.
If I start drinking it on
pretty
Jameson
early.
at 11:30, yeah.
The Doyles are drunk again.
So come see our last public appearance.
You know what? What's funny is you and I did CryptiCon last year, and we're like, okay, we're not going to do any more of these. We really wanted to do CryptiCon, and then that's it. We're just so busy with going out in the field, and going out in the field takes up all of our time. We have no personal time.
We still have cases of equipment in our like front room right now that I'm trying to get through. And guess what? I'll get through it just in time for us to go back out and do it all over again.
Yes.
So,
And we're working on a huge project right now. So that's got us kind of bound up with everything too. But we're like, okay, we don't have time to do these because there's travel. You got to be up there. You have to prepare the presentation. And you know me, I'm going to do an audio visual presentation that's going to be just overdone. There's going to be extra stuff in there. It's going to be done in smell-o-vision. Everybody's going to have a card underneath their seat where they scratch it and they sniff it and they smell the Bigfoot. I really ought to do that.
Real quick, Curtis Whitaker, thank you.
Curtis the artist.
Every week, Curtis.
Thank you, Curtis.
Every week.
You are a diamond in the rough, sir.
The show is now officially started. So
I'm going to put together a really good show, put together a really good presentation, and I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be good. We're really excited about that. But in addition to that, we also have the Tennessee Wildman Conference. God, we said we weren't doing any more of these conferences. And here we are. We've signed up for more conferences. So we are doing the Tennessee Wildman Conference. I'm actually excited about this. I guess we're considered legacy at the Tennessee Wildman now because we were at the very first one. Let me get my name off of there. There we go. Now we can see. We can see Dewey Edwards' beautiful face down there. We got a lot of cool people going out there. We get to hang out with Chester Moore again. He does Dark Outdoors podcast. It's really good. If you guys have not checked that out, it's really good. Talks about serial killers, creepy stuff in the woods. We're into that. So catch us there. Catch Mr. Dewey Edwards there as well. And then one last order of business. Our very own Joe Doyle will be on Small Town Monsters Live on Wednesday, May the 7th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So it's going to be him and Aaron babbling at each other for a while. Now, I have included a link to that down below in the description. So if you want to go down into the description and click on that and hit that notify me button, that way you get a notification and you remember to go see Joe on that. That would be rad.
So Jesse's got to work Wednesday night. So I'm doing the solo. I don't do a lot of these solo. I want people to show up.
You just need a host.
But I don't want any dumb questions. Don't throw any stuff at me about Catman or any of that other tomfoolery.
Now you're getting nothing but Catman questions. I want serious participation only. None of these hijinks that you guys do. Also. You are getting nothing but Catman questions from here on out. Yep, it's nothing but Catman after this.
Anyway, Aaron and I will be discussing Small Town Monsters just publicly released on YouTube, the LBL documentary that we took part in. And that released that free of charge for you to view on YouTube. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Till now, I think it's been available for purchase and rent on video on demand.
Yeah, it's been, I think, just on Amazon.
Yeah, so they released that. So we're going to kind of discuss a little bit about the LBL, Dogman in general, stuff like that. So, but anyway, if you guys can make it, I would appreciate it. Just so the people are doing meow jokes.
I tell you what, we ought to do for one of these conferences. We'll just have a slideshow of all of these people who give us crappy comments or threaten us or come at us with cat masks.
Just do it all.
And we'll just have a discussion of that.
We're thinking about, we were actually going to invite Catman
onto the show
to present his case against us.
Yeah.
Now, and then have an impartial judge also dialed in to determine the merit of the.
You know what's up there?
I got a gavel right over here.
I got a gavel right there. So I'll do.
No, you can't. No, we can have a tainted. You're making a mockery of justice here. So have a third party be.
I can remove my feelings from this case.
So have a third party be the judge. The only two stipulations would be he's got to wear the cat mask.
Yeah.
Well, 3 stipulations actually. Got to wear the cat mask. It's got to be naked. And no camera shots below the neck. We're just going to take his word that he's naked. Because you know what? I think if you can't trust naked Catman, who can you trust in this world? But we were thinking about doing that, having him on so he can present his case against me and put the evidence out there. So I don't know. We might actually do that.
Oh, let me put my granny glasses on so I can read all this.
So we are going to so it'll be me and Aaron tomorrow night. So yeah, if you guys would like to show up, any of the Hellbender crew and all of that, I definitely appreciate the support. Like I said, I don't usually do these solo, so really like to see some of you guys in the chat. So
Jessica Smith says, "What about Catwoman? Only if it's Michelle Pfeiffer."
Yes, indeed. Julie Newmar is the best one. I've got a couple other things in addition to Curtis. We have a slew of members who are out here tonight. Smog's been with us since the bitter beginning. Smog, thank you so much. Lady Wolf right there with him. Good Lord, the OGs tonight, man. Patty G. When I say OGs, Patty G.
Yeah.
And then
these are the OGs.
Newcomer Walter Ballard now.
Walter, king of the Discord.
And then, yeah, the Walter Ballard, the king of our Discord. And Walter just actually became a holler baller. So we greatly appreciate that. And one other thing I had here real quick is our Bill Evans will be.
Bill Evans, Bill Monica. I'm actually going to let you guys know what hotel we're going to be at.
Yeah.
I've got to let a few of our Hellbenders know. That way we can kind of coordinate a Hellbender hootenanny. But we got a lot of cool ideas for the conference. I think it's going to be a blast. It's honestly going to be a blast. We're so excited. Many, many years ago, Joe and I went to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference to see David Pilates and Ron Moorhead.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the best conferences we had ever been to in terms of the speakers, the turnout. It was so much fun. We actually met Scott Carpenter in the parking lot. And he was like the nicest freaking dude.
Talked to him for a while.
Yes.
They had I don't know if they still do this or not, but at the end of the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference, and what's funny is we got asked to do the festival. People asked us if we wanted to do the festival, but I don't know, man, doing festivals and stuff like that, where there's midget wrestling.
They just had that.
And they got a Guns N' Roses cover band, but they're all wearing Sasquatch outfits and all that. That's not our cup of tea. So conference though, and I'm sure that's cool. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, I don't know. I just see everybody being drunk and just, which is kind of cool now that I think about it. Now I wish we'd freaking done it. But at the conference, at the end of it, they had a roundtable discussion where everybody was on the stage taking questions that the audience would ask. And it was basically David Pilates and Ron Moorhead on the end of the panel. And then everybody else was just normal, AP Bigfoot.
You could basically, I wish David Pilates had a better sense of humor about this stuff. Because he could make a t-shirt. Listen, I'm the marketing genius here, David. I know that you watch this show religiously. Mm-hmm. I know you're right there. You're right there in the audience. A t-shirt that says David Pilates versus the world.
Because David Pilates and Ron Moorhead just sat there and just curb stomped the rest of the panel. It was so awesome to watch. It was violent. It was crazy to watch. I had never seen, I was just sitting there going, damn, there's just the two of them against 8 or 9 people.
I wish Bill Evans was there to revive
some of these people. Yes, indeed. So Nathan from the Quantum Show, thank you for that 333.
Ooh. Some magic numbers there.
But anyway, so I don't know if I'll have that this year or not. I don't usually do much on these round table type things at the end. We do them at the Tennessee Wildman. Because arguing about something that nobody can really prove at this point is kind of pointless, but at the same token, and also too, people get very sensitive. People get their feelings hurt and upset if you just go, I don't think that's the case, There's really not a lot of friendly debate. But anyway, who knows? Maybe I'll just go off the friggin' rails on this one.
Maybe.
Suji, thank you so much for that super sticker. We appreciate it. Followed by Sheila. Thank you so much. It's going to be paying my bar tab. Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference.
At the first Cryptid Con we went to, we were laughing about this the other day in the Discord. Joe confronted Nick Groff.
I did confront Nick Groff.
In a very...
Busted through his security.
Hey, you!
Get out of my way.
Listen to me, Groff.
So
if anybody that was wondering about information concerning the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference, the link is bam in the chat right there. I'm going to go ahead and stick it in the description below as well.
I think this is cool because we were talking the other day, just like everything right now, man. It's corporate entertainment, and I'm going to use the word entertainment even for the Bigfoot related shows, because again, when you're on TV, you're not worried about actually doing Bigfoot research. You're selling cat litter. You're just making it entertaining enough for people to sit through commercials. And it just seems like a lot of corporate entertainment, and every single genre is losing control right now. And it's people that are like independent, like content creators, and people that instead of it being done by a committee, it's one or two people's like vision. That's really starting to like shine right now again. People are starting to really kind of rediscover that. So it's cool to see.
I think when you have something that's super corporate, that it's gone through so many testing phases and stuff like that, it becomes very vanilla. But when you have something that is the result of a single person or a small group of people's singular vision of what it can be and how they want to pursue whatever they're doing. Now, this isn't just Bigfoot. This is any kind of niche or pursuit that's out there. When you have that real tight focus on the vision, you get some really cool stuff. Like this is a project that is the genesis of you and I, and it's you and I alone.
But you're starting to see people like that pay attention to that, and not just. And you know, you'll have these things like going, who do you want to see at this conference? Oh, we want to see the Mountain Monsters guys and everything like that, which is cool because it's got a widespread thing. But that shouldn't just be the entire face of everything, especially for the people that are real fans of this stuff. And people that have had like life-changing experiences, people that are just really into the topic. You're starting to see people who don't clock out at the end of the day, and then they don't worry about Bigfoot for like, because we live, eat, and breathe all of this stuff. It's our entire lives.
And it's giving it back to the people.
Yeah, you know, it's giving it back to the people.
Taking it to the streets.
But you're starting to see people at these conferences who aren't just like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Bigfoot researchers.
Yeah.
And this isn't really what they're interested in. It's just a way to pay the bills and blah, blah, blah. You're starting to see people that are really, really enthusiastic about it and really, really into it.
And bringing new and exciting ideas and approaches to the topic.
People who are like good looking, humble.
Blue hair.
So thank you, Oki. We appreciate that, my friend. So, but anyway, like I said, so it's going to be, and you know, it's weird is because if you look at a lot of this stuff, now that we're starting to do these, a lot of times we're the only people on like the marquee who've never been on TV before, and will never be on TV more than likely, you know?
No, I'm banned. The FCC has a ban on me.
A ban on Jesse, but so it's kind of cool. We almost didn't do the conference, and then we're just kind of going, nah, you know, we need to kind of, and I don't want to sound like pretentious about it, but try to get in there and do a good job, and maybe like open the door from like more people who, you know, aren't just doing it for like a paycheck at this point, to try to like get in and kind of share like their work and their thoughts and their ideas.
So they are not doing a speakers panel at the end of the day at that conference. I don't know if the knockdown drag out was the last time they did that, but they're not doing a panel. It's going to be Jeff Meldrum, and then they're literally chaining the door shut.
Maybe we'll do a panel, and maybe they just don't know they're doing a panel yet. We're doing a panel because I say we're doing a panel. Sean,
I brought my own microphone.
Doing a panel out in the parking lot. Man, we've got like a ton of like OG people in tonight. Sean, Hawk, our boy Grizz, glad to see you. The working class boots on the ground folks are actually getting their time in the limelight. It's way overdue.
We had to turn our own light on, kids.
And again, like I said, it's nobody's experts on this, but I'll tell you right now, we are more invested in the subject and could speak to somebody probably better than someone who just signed a network contract and, you know, knows what the writers told them that they need to know about it, you know? So anyway, Bettina Primer, thank you so much for that. And thank you guys for the super stickers. Again, it's part of doing that is that we're community funded, we're community supported, you know.
That keeps us from having to answer to big cat litter and boner pills.
So anyway. All right. So we released a
video on Saturday.
We did release a video on
Saturday. So this video that we released, I hope you all did your homework before coming to class today. Released it on Saturday evening, and a lot of people found it very fascinating. It is the third installment in our Blackthorne Lake series. We're just now starting to really ramp things up with this Blackthorne Lake series. The first two episodes were sort of an exposition, kind of getting you accustomed to the area so you can see what it looks like, what it's like on the ground, kind of what we're finding out there during the day. And then this third episode, we start going into night on the second investigation that we did out there. We start going into the night, and we take off right where the second episode left off, right after Joe got sick, and we heard that strange kind of clicking sound in the distance. A lot of people didn't hear that clicking sound.
You had to wear headphones. It's
in the distance.
Yeah, it's in the distance, clicking in the distance. But if you wear headphones, you can hear it.
Someone was very angry about
somebody was very angry.
The fact that they could not hear the clicking.
We've been getting a deluge of very angry men lately. It's very bizarre.
Angry dudes out there.
A lot of angry dudes out there. Real quick before we get into that, last thing about the conference. Our boy Bristol, do we really have to avert our eyes and bow when we approach you guys at the conference? Couple ground rules. Upon arrival, don't crowd our limousine.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a Hummer, so we will be above you.
Yeah. No eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hand us anything directly. We have people that'll do that. I don't want to handle like whatever grubby little items.
I don't have the Lysol ready.
So
the pepper spray.
Anyway.
Green M&Ms.
So, all right, back to the show. We released an episode, and it's weird.
Somebody's going to think you're being serious.
Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So, we have royalty in here tonight. Stingray. I was actually thinking about you just the other day that I had not talked to you for a while. Hope everything's going well, buddy. It's talking about Blackthorne Lake, which is, again, not the real name. You're not going to find Blackthorne. We're not putting the name of this place out there. Part of the reason is just for what Stingray said. There's no development out there. Mm-hmm. There's nobody out there. People who are a few miles away seem to not really even know this place is there. It's bizarre. Yeah. Now, obviously, people do go there. We've heard a couple of boats before. And the first person who told us about that area was a fisherman who heard something screamed at him and threw rocks at him and stuff from the tree line on shore. But there's just, I don't know. It was just all that land seized and then just left, gated off. It's not really anything and I'm sure that if some people know about it, but it's not really well known in that neck of the woods. It's weird, even when we were at that old abandoned boat launch that you've seen before, really that place is cool. It's gorgeous. Hell, it's a boat launch. You could pull up there with a boat and get out for a while, but
you could launch it there.
Nobody's there. It's bizarre. So we're going to keep it that way. We're just going to we gave it a code name.
And also this series gets very strange from here on out. I know these vocalizations that we had in this episode were very bizarre. And we'll get into that a little more, but it gets much weirder.
It gets much weirder
from here on out. And
Jack Hunt's talking about the clicking. To us, the clicking sounded like rocks kind of hitting together, a very sharp sound. That's kind of what I took it to be. Mm-hmm. At the time, I really couldn't tell, but when we listened to it later, I'm like, that sounds like rocks hitting together very sharply, like rapidly. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if that was vocalizations, but it's very weird. It's just very weird. Now, if you've seen the video, the main point of the video is we're hearing, like Rev's talking about, it sounds like something's trying to sing, man.
A couple times do make that comment that it sounds like something is attempting to form words. It's got kind of a sing-song quality to it. It kind of has that sing-song quality to it.
But it's got a...
Now, I do have a clip from the video queued up. If we want to kind of bring that up in a second, we'll watch that clip so you can clearly hear the vocalizations. If you haven't seen the video yet, this is just a clip of some of the vocalizations that we got. But maybe we can kind of watch and listen to this together, and then we'll just kind of dive into
and it's what's weird is you're just seeing the... We will sometimes have like a period of like no field investigations because nothing happens. You know what I'm saying? Nothing happens. So when I say nothing happens, we even look at the footage and just go, boring. Nothing weird happened. There's really nothing scenic about the area. There's just nothing. Why waste anybody's time with it? Blackthorne's been the exact opposite. There was so much going on and we were there so often. We're late in getting the footage out. You're really just seeing up to this point the first couple of excursions out there.
Yeah. We
probably have right now enough video with stuff happening for like another 8 videos? Yes. Maybe six or 8?
Yes.
It was so consistent and so wild and constantly ramping.
And we were getting to the point where we would get home and then rest maybe,
and then go
and then go back.
Yeah, we would be
a
like
day or two, and then we just go back, and then we were not. It was bordering on obsession, in a bad way, and at one point we kind of had to step away for a minute, but we do have tons of footage.
We got a ton of it, and we got a ton of weird stuff, and I don't know what any of it means right now.
And it's a lot of it is so cross spectrum, and a lot of it is so bizarre and stuff that we've never experienced before. Yeah. We've talked about some of this in some of our members' lives. We talked about some of this in the Discord. There are instances that occur out there that I have no explanation for.
And we were the video you're seeing right now, we were still approaching it under the assumption of it's like a Bigfoot hunt.
Doesn't Joe always have that hope just lying in the cockles and the subcockles of his heart?
You would think the constant disappointment would have killed that hope, but that's what we're looking at. And, you know, we have found what appear to be stereotypical Bigfoot tracks out there. There have been some Bigfoot sightings in that area. So, but the whole area has just been just weird stuff that we've experienced some strange stuff in our careers doing this. And we've had some stuff where we just go, what in the hell is that? We're not, you know, Blackthorne, it's just been constant. Like, it's hard to gain your balance out there because it just kind of keeps coming in different directions and everything. Like, it's just so weird. It's never what you expect it to be, but it keeps happening. And some of it's very subtle. Some of it's very in your face, but it's the activity. Even the trees, like Bettina says here, the trees, some of the trees out there are bizarrely shaped. Now there was a Native American tradition where they would bend a tree and then allow it to grow in order to point towards various like important sites.
However, you know, that hasn't been the case there for hundreds of years at this point.
Yeah, and
there are trees that are much younger than that
have undergone some pretty consistent bending there.
I think somebody mentioned that in the chat during the premiere. They're like, you know, those trees are way too young to be used in that manner.
Well, now keep in mind, this was a lot of this area were very large southern plantations. And then there were some like smaller farms and everything like that interdispersed amongst them. And then all that land was seized. And then it's kind of hard to get a real good idea of how things have transpired there.
Yeah.
We've gotten a few reports, a couple of them that we have gotten through back channels. You got one of the binders there. Hold it up and show them thick that damn thing.
So this is my binder. I did make a custom little cover for it just because I'm a goof. But this is my dossier on that area.
This is one of them.
This is my main one.
I'm not showing the page.
You dare.
But it's crazy. It's bananas the amount of like information that's in here.
But that's my main dossier.
It's bananas the amount of information.
It's over 300 pages. And this is just like what I've got so far, like as my main information for the area. It was a area where that it was a Native American cultural site of some kind. They're not sure what, but it was of a spiritual and religious significance.
And then there's other information that you would expect to be in there that's not in there. So it's strange. But it is
unmarked mass graves.
Yeah, and I don't know. And Todd had the king of powerlifters in Sasquatch suits playing with quartz boulders and decorating Coke bottle Christmas trees. Nothing to see here. The big rocks that are moving around is what really kind of drove it home for me that we weren't just dealing with people out there. That we weren't just dealing with. And you probably heard it on the video. I say, some of this stuff's not outside the realm of possibility for a person to do. Yeah. A lot of it's not. Maybe people were just kind of in there exploring and they stopped to take a break and one of them's bored walking around, digging out artifacts and just kind of putting them around.
But what we're finding is so widespread over such a large geographic area. It's alarming.
Yeah.
And I know, yes, you could say, but Joe, Jesse, you found all this stuff in all these areas. Joe and I are going out there and we are going into random directions into the woods from time to time. and we are finding this stuff. Nowhere near any kind of path of travel, nowhere near anything where there should be people. And it's the same kind of behaviors over and over again, spread out over a huge, huge geographic area in completely random places.
And the other thing too is that if it was people doing it, they're spending a lot of time there. And again, that's not impossible, but people are messy. They're sloppy. They leave footprints. They leave traces of themselves, cigarette butts. You can, after a while, you get really used to picking out the signs of human passage. We're not seeing that there, okay? And then one night you're going to see in a video where we hiked in on this road and then ended up coming back, and someone or something had followed behind us and put more bottles in the trees. And we looked everywhere. We're looking, but we don't see any footprints. We see our boot prints. So unless the person had a hoverboard following us doing this, but we're looking at the thermal. It's just, you start getting into this point where you've got to go, all right, the easiest explanation is not that it's people, because quite honestly, these people would be stranger than like Bigfoot out there at this point. How the hell are they floating around out here doing this? Very bizarre. But it's just such a weird area.
I've got some stuff started on there if you want to go through. I'm going through the chat right now. But yeah, I've got a clip from that, and then we can check that out if we want to kind of get more specific and kind of get
That's
down,
just a side thing.
down into the dirty of it.
Actually, we wear Garmin wristwatches.
Mhm.
These are, I think, InReaches. They've got GPSs built into them.
Instinct.
That's right.
Garmin Instinct.
And InReach is your little personal locator beacon.
Yes,
thing.
sir.
So they've got GPSs built into them so that we can like track ourselves and then use it to track out. They're not full watch like maps, but it's got like a little tracking thing. We run these because we sometimes have GPS failure.
Yeah,
So
and I wear the exact same watch, but I'm not wearing it right now because time is a flat circle.
So we end up getting, just kind of running those just as fail safes in case everything else goes down. Mr. Dog, the creepy, insane landscape in Blackthorne is living up to the expectations with the great audio you both keep recording while there. It's like someone is writing a horror movie.
Terry is correct.
and we didn't expect that. And we didn't even like start if you remember when we first started talking about this place, we were super jazzed for it.
Yeah.
We still are.
Very jazzed.
But you can tell how our impressions of the place have changed as we've experienced more stuff out there. And we've had some really like tense, uncomfortable situations out there. And did we talk about this on a live stream that we tried to go out that one night purposely to go out after dark?
We talked about this on the show last week.
Was it? It all runs together, but it's a weird place, man. And it's weird because we found like little hints of things that could be occult activity. And it's just in one of those weird rural areas of the South and the South's like blowing up right now with population and development and everything like that. But there's still little corners tucked away where none of that's going on. And you drive around and you just go, wow, there's some weird stuff going on out here. You know what I'm saying? These people are up to some weird stuff out here. It's just, there's some weird stuff going on out there, man. There's so many little things. And now we're starting to run into big things that are just bizarre. It's bananas out there. It's completely crazy.
Lovely foreshadowing.
Yes.
So when I held up the binder, we got a couple things about the binder. One thing that I think is funny is Illuminathan 79 says, when is declassification, or can I send you guys a FOIA?
We are definitely never saying where that is as long as we're out there investigating. That is somewhere where I don't want to run across somebody with bad intentions. It's just not.
Especially after what occurred at Laurel Creek, I think that we learned our lesson in terms of telling people where we were, meeting with people who are strangers off the internet.
Yep.
Except for MK, we did meet him off the internet.
Look how
that turned out for us.
So, let's see what else we got here. I And I'm in single time in this damn channel.
And you've got some stuff up from the back too, because I've been just going along here.
Well, let me see what we got here.
Face peelers.
Dun, dun, dun.
If you want, I can play the clip in a second.
Well, give me 1 second. Let me see what we got here.
Denied.
Denied.
I'll get no dang clip. No clip for you. Here, I've got all this stuff put together, planned out.
Joe and Jesse Blackthorne is creepy.
Oh.
If not careful, y'all might end up on the Polites show.
Yeah.
Joe, are we going to see footage of your eye incident?
I don't know what is that? That's why I saw that. And I was like, what does that mean?
What's that now?
What eye incident?
Well, I started having eye problems, but not like yours. You're the one who had, Jesse's the one who had the real bad eye problem that had to wear an eye patch after that. I had a minor eye issue, but it's just so weird because we keep going back to John Keel talking about people that were witnessing like high strangeness in and around where the Mothman stuff happened at, and how a lot of people were having eye problems after these experiences. So I never really had eye problems like that before. Now we're like, we both had a couple of eye infections. Jesse had that really serious one where we thought they were going to have to have surgery on her. She's wearing an eye patch for a while.
I had to get a shot of steroids in my eye.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
although the eye patch was pretty cool, I did not want to keep it. It was not fun. I ran into a doorway.
Bunny Blue, when you found the stones in a circle and you remarked that it was a gathering place, it put me in mind of areas like Stonehenge. It was weird because when we first walked up, the first ones we saw were rocks that had been moved. And then and it looked like there were a few stationary large rocks that were jutting out of the ground. And then somebody or something had come along and moved other rocks to kind of make a rough circle. And as soon as Jesse said it's like a gathering place, and if you watch the video, you heard me, and I go, well, maybe here and here. Nobody's sitting on that one. That looks like an uncomfortable rock. But that feeling is very, it makes sense. It feels like somewhere where people gather at, or something gathers at. It has like a somber kind of feel to it, which is weird. It just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like some sort of like official business is taking place. Am I describing it well? I mean, it's like a meeting place. It feels like a meeting place there. And I don't know why that was the first
term
thing.
Gathering place just instantly popped into my head.
Yeah. And somebody asking, do you think it was a loon or a heron? They say no. And we'll get into this a little later, but
following up on that,
we ran.
Oki has one here. It says, Joe, do you have someone to analyze the sound?
I analyze our sounds. So Jesse analyzes our sounds.
We do have a bioacoustician.
We have we don't talk about that. We used Merlin, which is a bird identifying like app software, ran those through there. Nothing matched up on it.
I also sat in my office with my Sony studio headphones on for hours, listening to hundreds of birds and owls for hours and hours. I don't care to hear another bird for the rest of my life, but it was killing me to not figure out what this was, because I was in such a state of, okay, I cannot put my finger on what this is. I don't know what this is. What is this? I can't release this video if it's some loon, or I'll be the loon. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the heron out there. But I can't release this video if it's some known animal. And I was like, there's no way. Are we mistaken here? So I was racking my brain. I went over so many different types of birds. I listened to every type of owl, from calls to mating calls, to, any type of noise that any bird would make in this area and outside of this area. And I cannot find a match. I could not find a match. I just listened to sample after sample after sample after sample and could not find a match on that.
All the people have told us that they're cows. That's a cow call.
I don't know where the heck a cow is supposed to be in the woods out there.
And not to mention
unless it's a ghost cow, because there might have been livestock there, 150, 200 years ago.
The other weird thing was,
now we got ghost cows to contend with,
is that we followed those calls down onto that peninsula, and it narrowed the deeper end we got.
Oh, they were asking about that freaking thing that got thrown in your face.
Oh, that the eye incident for that. Yeah. I thought you were talking about.
Gosshog said they're talking about the.
No, well, the reason why I asked is because my eye's hurting right now. We've both been having like eye issues, like inflammation.
I released that clip for members a week ago.
Yeah, but
so.
But yeah, that little
it's always something
pop in the eye thing there, man. Yeah, it's just that didn't hit my eye though. That didn't cause anything other than a little red mark underneath it.
And you getting PO'd.
And me getting ticked and wanting to run around and shoot whatever did it. But I don't know, man. It's just such it's equal parts. It's equal parts like fascinating, and then just sometimes you never want to go back there. And then other times, like Jesse said, we'll come home and we'll have plans to do something the next day, and we sleep for a while, and we're like, let's run back out for just a few hours, and then we end up like going back out there and stand all day and night. So it's very, very, very weird. So it is, I don't know, man, but it gets so much weirder, and we're just now in the beginning stages of what you're going to see with all this stuff. And it's just so, I don't know. I'm even having a hard time describing it. It's just not what we expected in the slightest when we went out there the first time, Well, I'll take it back. We went out there that first time, and it wasn't until we really kind of dove into it. And then even then we're just going, I don't expect any of this. And then Jesse's doing research on the area, and she's going, there's like a mass grave or possibly two out there. Yeah. And I'm going, what the hell, did they remove the bodies? No, it doesn't look like it. Well, where are they? I don't know. It's not, they reference it, but and again, the one report definitely was not for public consumption. So it wasn't like they were just not putting it in this report because they didn't want people to know where it was, because nobody was really supposed to see this report outside of the powers that be that kind of did it up. And so I don't know, man. It's just so crazy.
Kathy Smith goes, "Oh my God, I grew up with cows all around us, and that sound was not a cow." I grew up in North Carolina. I'm from West North Carolina. I grew up on a cattle farm that, so weirdly enough, I don't know if I've ever told you this.
Let on me.
So I grew up on, like, we had a little place on the edge of a cattle farm, and I'd go hang out it was like 100 acres. I would go out there and kind of be my weird little self and just run off into the woods. It was actually adjacent to a property that had a ancient ceremonial Native American mound on it. Wow. And it's actually on that earthworks map that I showed you before. So I think that's kind of an interesting
That's pretty neat.
That's neat.
But yeah, and again, that call, I had somebody try to tell me it was a dog, and I'm going, dogs bark. And even if a dog howls like a coon dog or something like that, it's still it's a dog, man. You can tell it's a dog.
Yeah.
And this, we didn't know what it was. And at one point we're even going, I even said at one point, I said, it's not like a waterfowl or anything like that. You don't want to jump to conclusions.
And you do have a change in it. It goes from that two-tone kind of sing-song thing. Mm-hmm. And then there's like not to go all Sasquatch Chronicles on you, but they're like a chuntering, like a choo, choo, a goo, goo, goo kind of noise. You know what I'm saying? Do you want me to play the sample?
Yeah, play the
sample. Can I play the sample
ahead.
now?
So, yeah.
The people want the sample. No, I'm not going to play the sample. All right, we're going to play the sample here. And you guys just take a little listen to it. If you haven't listened already, I'm going to get this going here. We will be silent here while we do it. Shh.
What the hell is that? I've never heard anything like that.
So, yeah. And you can hear it has different kind of patterns and tonalities. I think that there's multiple out there with whatever this is. I think there's multiple out there, but I don't know. I didn't lay eyes on what I'm seeing. But we are in a very, very remote area that's out in the middle of nowhere. It's in a wooded area. It's in a wilderness area. So there's no cows out in there. There's no cows out into the woods. But you can just hear it over and over again, and it's going consistently. We have so much audio of these vocalizations. It's crazy. We included most of them in the video, but that was just a small sampling of what we had.
Well, so we heard the one was in the woods, like with us, and that's why we started kind of going towards it. And we went out we're on a peninsula, but there's smaller, like little offshoots, like smaller peninsulas that jut off onto it, and they get narrower the further along you get on them. So this thing's ahead of us in the woods making these sounds, and we're going towards the end of the peninsula, and then it's still ahead of us and it's narrowing in. Okay. The land is narrowing in on either side of us. And then we get to the end and it's gone. There's nothing there. And then we're hearing one across the water from us. And then we're hearing what I think was ahead of us behind us now. Somehow it got behind us. And that's when you hear those tree knocks or whatever the knocks they are, like that knocking sound. And I'm going, how the hell did it get behind us? You know, I mean, it's crazy. And people can go, oh, they moved in the trees. But if it's moving in the trees like that, you'd hear it, man. You know, it's just, I have no clue how whatever it was got behind us like that. And even if you just go, oh, it's just a really weird sounding bird. A really weird sounding bird is out there smashing something against like trees like that to make those huge knock sounds.
Also,
It's
there
weird.
seems to be a consensus amongst the chat here. Jay Satori says, it sounds like wild ape sounds you would hear in a zoo or one of the nature TV shows. Sean Hawk also says it's simian in nature.
So,
and I do have those charts whenever you're ready to talk about those.
Yeah, go ahead and pull them up. So we're going to discuss this with and everything is with a huge grain of salt with this right now, because we're still looking into this. And any opinion that we offer right now, that opinion might change as we kind of dive into a little bit more and we experience a little bit more about it. But Jesse's got some stuff here real quick.
You just go and I'll take care of this. Don't worry about me.
All right, I was just looking to see what you had.
Don't look. All right, I'm gonna put this on here real quick.
It's just so. And then at one point it sounded like it was trying to speak, and I don't mean to say anything offensive, but it sounded like,
there we go,
like it's somebody who was deaf trying to like enunciate words. And then at another point it sounded like sing-songing, like it was trying to it was melodic, not like a bird song melodic. It was like somebody was like singing like a couple of tones. It's just weird. And at that point, I'm not even saying that's Bigfoot. I don't know what the hell it is. You know, people are out there going, oh, it's this, it's that. And I mean, you might be right. It's just that, listen, man, anybody that's done this before, this sort of stuff before, you've had moments where you thought you had something cool. You thought you had something out of the ordinary. And then it turned out to be something that was completely ordinary. We always talk about the time we saw that thing on thermal when we were with a guy who's a witness in the mountains nearby here. All three of us are looking at something on thermal. And
I don't know if we talked about that at length.
Yeah.
I know we just told MK about this.
We thought we saw a Sasquatch on thermal, and it looked like a Sasquatch with a juvenile.
It
with
did,
it.
with
But
like
at
its
a
arm
distance,
around it.
At a distance, it looked like we thought it was down near the water line, a distance away from
We
us.
were losing our
We
minds.
were losing our minds. And to be honest with you, we could have released that thermal footage and people would have gone, oh my God, you caught a adult Sasquatch with a juvenile. That's what it looked like.
That's exactly what it looked like.
But
it
it
looked like
was
it was down at the water's edge.
It looked like it was at a distance. And then I went, I'm moving up on it. Y'all watch it to tell me if it starts to move away. And I took a few steps into the brush and a bird flew out of a branch. It wasn't a far away. It was up close. But the body heat of the bird had been partially obscured by a branch.
Yes.
And it looked like
I mean, it looked
It's
dead
crazy.
on.
I mean, we're literally all up there just holding each other going, this is crazy. So it happens to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And but with this, it's just, we keep trying to explain it away. And I know that some people will listen to a couple of seconds and then just throw off an explanation. It's this, it's that, you know. One person was trying to tell me that, well, you know, elk have been released all over the United States, and that's an elk bugle. And I'm going, there's no elk here, man. There's not just a random elk. I mean, elk are freaking huge.
It's an elk on vacation.
Yeah, it's just a vacationing elk. And I'm going, and you start getting frustrated with these people that are just, your explanation is sillier than like Bigfoot. The explanation of Bigfoot being like the answer as to what happened for it at that point.
So we took a sampling of that audio that you just heard in that clip there, and we uploaded it and started to see if we could figure out. We did we uploaded it to get a visual representation.
Trying to pull up my notes on it as well. So
of what this sound is, and it came back that this sound was at 187.5 hertz. So we compared that using a little chart here where you can have like a visualization of the frequency spectrum of that versus other animals in the area that it could possibly be. I'm going to show you guys that right now. So you can take a look at this here. So this is our audio sample here at the top.
Yeah.
Oh, I just need you to see that so I can.
Okay.
I can't see my screen. So this is our audio sample here at the top, and it's right here. It's at that 187.5 area here. Then you've got the coyote howl is higher. Simulated barred owl is over here, and then the red fox is right here. So you can kind of compare them right there and see them on it, and get a visual on them and see that they're completely different.
And it's and it's just, so it's not a coyote, it's not a barred owl, it's not a red fox.
I thought this was really a cool way to kind of get a visualization on this.
Now there are some non-indigenous bullfrogs that make calls around 186, 187, 188 hertz, but it's a bullfrog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You hear it and you go, so that's a bullfrog. Bullfrogs don't make the sounds we heard. It's the same frequency, but that's not a bullfrog. If it is, there are some very big, very quick, and very intelligent bullfrogs in that area that sound like they're trying to mimic human speech.
Yeah.
So it's weird when we ran it through to see what, and again, you're dealing with a field recording. It was done with a shotgun microphone. It's not done under laboratory conditions or anything like that. But the general consensus was that it would have to be a large mammal making those sounds. And and of course, we're just, we're using various like paid AI programs to kind of like source stuff through. And one of the things they were talking about is that, like large chimpanzees or gorillas. And I even made the comment.
So this is where we get into
the Discord going, if it ends up just being monkeys after all, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I've got too much egg on my face.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I was excited.
I'm done.
I was excited
I've talked too much crap about the monkeys in the woods. And I'm not saying that's what this is, but it's obviously a large mammal of some sort making these vocalizations. That's not a coyote. It's not a bear. It's not a deer. It's not a feral hog. It's not any of the normal indigenous wildlife through here. So now, maybe, just maybe, we'll come across a loose elk in there, which is going to be, you know what? Hell, that's an episode on its own. How the hell does elk get here?
What mud will you have on your face then?
Exactly right. So, but how the hell does elk get here? That would actually be pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? We come riding the elk out of the woods. We tame it. We domesticate it. We don't need a donkey. We got a Hellbent holler elk now.
So we compared the audio that we got when you have the visual spectrum here to chimps and gorillas. So this is where the chimpanzee is going to lie. The gorilla is closer. Gorilla is way closer than anything else we looked at in terms of it. But this is our sample here. And there's like this sing-song, smooth, multi-tonal vocalization.
The frequency spectrum's wider and the amplitude is stronger, meaning that it's got a big pair of lungs, whatever it is, man. It has the ability to project sound exceptionally well. And I don't know. I mean, Jesse sent me the stuff and I'm going like, what the hell, man? I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm looking on, there's been some like chimpanzees pant hoot, that, okay. The frequency peak in that sometimes is around 187.5 hertz. Now, what's crazy is that a pant hoot is like it's when something gets excited. You know, when like a chimpanzee or a primate gets excited, they make that pant hoot sound. This didn't convey like excitement to me. This sounded kind of chill, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah.
It sounded kind of mournful at times. It didn't really sound like something was really like, you know, getting excited over anything.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know, man.
There's no elk down there. Russell Matthews goes, the page wire explains elk farming. There's no elk farms.
There's no elk farms down there.
All of the wiring and fencing is from the late 1800s.
Marcus Aurelius,
possibly into the early 1900s, because that was a plantation. That was a pre-Civil War plantation site.
Takes a lot of mental gymnastics to try and tell someone they're not qualified enough to understand what they actually heard. And see, that's the thing on this. People will occasionally go, you should send this to so-and-so. And I'm like, why? I'm just as qualified and she's just as qualified as anybody else out there. Some of the we've met people have just gone, oh, you need to share your sound with them. And I'm going, they're using like a free version of Audacity that's like 10 years old, you know?
I used to use Adobe.
Yeah, so you know, we're using like better stuff, and it's weird, man. I don't know. It's just the calls are so bizarre, and I don't know, man. I don't know. And the fact that it got behind us, and then the knocks, you know, I don't know. I don't know how it got behind us. Is what's weird to me. And then we've heard other weird vocalizations through there that were equally weird, but don't sound like that. I don't know what that means. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, human beings are capable of wide frequency, no pun intended, of sounds. You know, we can make a lot of different like tonalities. And we've heard what sounded like gorillas trying to talk one night, which is kind of similar to that. But this was like guttural, the stuff we heard that one night. Matter of fact, those are like bestial voices. Mm-hmm. Those sound like beasts trying to like vocalize like words, trying to speak. And so this area is like, it's weird, man. It's weird. But then you get in and we have found some, you saw it in the video. There's giant anthills coming out now that it's getting warmer there. I'm talking giant anthills. And even when it was still cold, we had a couple of warm days in there, and the anthills came out just like overnight. And then the ground froze again. So the ground was too hard to pick up prints, but now you had all this soft displaced earth from these anthills. We found a couple of prints and anthills there.
And actually, those are going to be in a video.
Yeah, pretty good prints too, you know. And the ants were in the process of like trying to like fix the damage. You could tell they were just scurrying around, like moving dirt and stuff. And I'm like, this just happened. This didn't happen that long ago.
Mr. Booberry has an interesting point here that we've discussed here. What got me was it using planes for cover. It seems like that's the case. Every time we were starting to get these crazy vocalizations, right at that moment where it started to really ramp up, you could start to hear a plane overhead. Now, this isn't the only area where we've experienced this. We've experienced this exact same phenomenon in the Uaris as well. And it seems like whatever is out there might be attempting to use this noise produced by these planes going overhead as a cover for their vocalizations.
Yeah. And we've been talking like, I will talk to other people that I know have been through similar experiences to us that I trust. And we've talked to a couple other people, and there's some other people. We experienced that in other spots, but not to this degree, where it seems like, and I'm going, either the planes are riling it up somehow. Either the planes are like making it upset or doing whatever, or whatever this is using the noise of the planes to try to like mask these vocalizations. And then I'm going, well, I mean, if it's something, let's say it's trying to communicate with another of its own kind that's a distance away, so it's got to vocalize. It doesn't have the option of not making these vocalizations. It's not just a habit, or it's not an instinctive type thing, or it's doing them for a purpose, and then it's choosing the time when the planes are going overhead to do it. That shows like intelligence. That shows some forethought and planning. It shows the understanding that people might be out there trying to record it or trying to like detect it. I don't know, man. It's weird. It answers a lot more questions like pop up. So
yeah.
And
but at the same time, we have no idea what made it. We didn't see what made the noise.
Yeah, we didn't see it. I mean, that's
No.
the thing. So, and it's going to be hard to see it. If it can dodge us on a small peninsula like that and get around us. And then, you know what? It didn't even go, oh, I'm free and clear, I'm going to leave. No, it gets behind us and then starts making vocalizations and then starts doing those knocking sounds. If whatever it was just trying to dodge us, it was free and clear. You know, it had worked its way behind us. It could have moved up to where the land widened up and just been home free. But instead it stopped and starts vocalizing again and making new noises now. Now we're hearing like these weird like knocks right behind us and all that. So
Fighting the Trackway actually has something similar to what we have here. I have video where you can hear low flying plane and there's just a ton of whoops that accompany it.
Mm-hmm. And
oh, sorry, I hit that. I think
Jay says, my question is, how do they know when a plane's going to fly overhead at the same time as they call out? Just odd. Well, if it has better hearing than we do, then it would know that the planes are approaching. Planes give off low frequency sound that travels a great distance.
Also, they give off infrasound.
They do give off a little infrasound. Well, that's just mostly from the turbulence and the air that it causes. Not as much as like a helicopter, but it does give off a little bit. And they would maybe know that the planes are approaching long before we did, and then waited for them to get more overhead when it was in human range of hearing. And now you're really talking some crazy talk, but maybe that's what
Banana
happened.
Town?
Yeah, it's Banana Town, man. So I don't know. It's just, it's weird. And that area is going to get weirder and weirder and weirder. And it's just going to be, I don't know, it's going to be crazy. So let's see what else we got here.
So I guess a lot of people who have been out and about in some of these areas that seem like they're active, just based on what I'm seeing in the chat, is a lot of people are experiencing this, that when things like planes or trains are making intense noises, that these things kind of use them for cover, you know?
I mean, that's wild. I mean, that's just, that's a whole like different, I don't know, man. That has a lot of like that muddies the waters a great deal.
It's a lot of forethought too. That's a lot of logic that's going into place.
Yeah.
So that goes against your monkey hope.
Well, but it still doesn't. I mean, just because it sounds like a monkey, and even because it looks like a monkey,
doesn't make it a monkey.
If you get to a certain point where it's that weird, it's not a monkey anymore.
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know, man. So let's see what else.
Of course, this is nothing new with the physical characteristics of this thing that appears to be very simian, very monkey-like, but that doesn't mean it is a monkey. It doesn't mean it's a relic.
Well, I mean, there could be more than one type of creature out there that just, they share a passing resemblance to each other, and maybe that's all they share. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you have 4 limbs.
Well, that's what I was going to like bilateral symmetry and like bipedalism. Maybe that's a universal, not even a universal thing. Maybe that's a dimensional type thing. And there's lots of creatures from lots of different places that share these physical characteristics. But if you scratch the surface, you find out that they're much, much different. And because that seems to be the case, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I just, it's baffling to me. It's like literally baffling to me. And that's why I guess that's why my patience level for people who have been coming at us trying to tell us, oh, this is what you, and I'm going, how do you know that? How do you know that? Because I'm there and I don't know that. I don't know what's going on out there. You don't know what's going on.
With the elk thing, we know there, like,
there's no elk out there.
I know that.
Well, let me put it to you like this. I'm as certain as you can be that there's no elk out there. And if there is an elk out there,
I will eat my hat.
No, but I'm going to then guess what? We're dropping the Bigfoot thing. I want to find out how this elk got there. Like, what the hell, man? You know?
Because there have been elk reintroduced.
And we're bringing it
yes,
home, and it's
but not in this area.
And it's living in the backyard. So
I'm bringing my elk home.
All right.
Bring
This
it
is a
home.
really good one. Maybe they worship the great silver birds, aka plains and the tribes in the South
wow.
Pacific during World War II.
That's pretty rad.
Cargo cults were things that started up in the Pacific chapter.
Tell us about cargo cults, because you told me I had
Well,
never heard this term before. And
Cargo
you told me about
cults
this a couple of months ago.
were literal. You would have like a lot of like basically what amounted to uncontacted, let's just call them tribes, in the South Pacific. And when World War II happened, and when the Marines and the Japanese were going at it hammer and tongs, a lot of times they were going into these small islands that had never really gotten any attention before to build air bases, set up supply dumps, just put troops on, whatever. And some of the tribes that were there, well, they've got all these, like, strangers have all this cool stuff. They've got metal and woven cloth and glass and all of the stuff. And they thought they were like literal, like, gods. And when they left, you know, when the Americans and even the Japanese left, they tried to call the gods back because they wanted this stuff. They wanted this cargo, okay, that made their lives so much easier that they didn't have the ability to produce themselves. So they would try to emulate the actions of the gods in order to bring them back. So they would make like what looked like World War II radios out of like bamboo. I don't know if bamboo there or not, but out of like just, you know, naturally found materials. Some of them would go as far as to recreate the uniforms that they saw the gods wearing. Some of people would actually make planes out of like wood and everything like that. They were trying to recreate the actions of what they saw that gave them this like material wealth that otherwise they wouldn't have had access to. So, but as soon as you said that, the thing that kind of popped into my mind is whatever's there is using the remnants of human habitation for decoration, for symbolic purposes. Have you shown anything on the cemetery that's out there yet?
I showed, yeah, in the last video, I have just the old cemetery.
We were finding, and I wish I had that rock in here right now.
I've not showed that thing yet, but you can talk about it. Please do.
We found,
please do, yes.
White. So we find in these white quartz, like pyramids and triangles and everything like that. And
because when you show this, you guys can make this connection and see it.
And we found 2 stations where you can tell something's in there napping rocks. Mm-hmm. They're chipping rocks away to make whatever. But we're at this like cemetery, this old family cemetery that's in the middle of this.
It's the one with the graves. I'm sorry, I've lost it.
The grave on
Mason
the
graves.
Yeah,
yes.
And the one that has a grave outside the boundary of it.
Yes, that was in the last video.
There's a couple of tall spires there,
mm-hmm.
and they're out of marble. And Jesse all of a sudden had the connection going.
They look like the needles of Cleopatra, basically.
She's like, I wonder if whatever's out here is trying to recreate these monument things.
Yeah, because we found quartz that were napped in such a way that they were tall, thin, pointed spires, and they had the 4 points at the top. And it looked like Cleopatra's needle. It looked like those graves. It looked like those.
And then whatever is out there is using this stuff for decoration, for symbolic purposes, but it's putting booby traps out there, man. And that's the only way to look at it. Okay. When the broken glass and the sharp metal, and then taking the barbed wire and like doing these weird bends with it that you get caught up on as you walk. Something's pulled down. Because you still find some occasional signs up out there from when there was an effort made to kind of like get this place ready, I guess, for like outdoor recreation. We found 2 of them so far, signs that were up once upon a time, warning you that you're in an area with open wells.
Yeah. And
I'm going, well, something took these down, you know? I mean, because you see other signs in there that would not be up as permanently or as well, and they're still up. It's just the signs talking about the open well. Something's pulled those down. So but something's using man-made artifacts in there for its own purpose. And maybe there is some sort of weird cargo cult thing going on in there. Maybe they don't want like people to know they're there, but they like the little trinkets that people left in there. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I'm spitballing here. I don't know.
Brian Wigful, Thunder from Down Under. Hey guys, I love Jessie's glasses. She looks like a librarian who tells you to shush as soon as you make a sound. I do that to Joe all the time. You see it in the videos. Although you got this nice little move here in this in the clip I just showed. That one right there. Can I get a knife check, please? Knife check, Mr. Joe?
Yeah, I took mine off as I sit down. We have like fancy, beautiful knives tonight. I have a Bark River Marauder with a nice red little accent that goes through it. It's like a recurved Bowie. It's a gorgeous knife. I got this to carry, and I have a hard time carrying it because it's so attractive, but it is just absolutely gorgeous.
That is nice.
That is very nice.
I have a knife that Joe gave me pretty early on. It is a Solingen steel Linder dagger. It has a mother of pearl handle there. Isn't that beautiful? I love daggers. I'm a huge fan of daggers. I have quite a dagger collection. This is one of my larger daggers. I tend to like a smaller one. Like I have one from I'm not able to speak.
What's
today.
that now?
The black on black dagger I have. I've lost it.
I've lost
Ignore
it.
it. Anyway, there's my knife. But that's one of the early knives that Joe gave me. Probably 11 years ago. So I've had that one for a long time. It's got that beautiful little mirror finish on there. But it's Solingen steel. Love it. Classic dagger.
Jerry says barbed wire comes in rolls. When it's cut, it wants to return to the coiled up position. Not this barbed wire. It is this barbed wire is you will see areas where it was cut but not taken down, and it's like straight as an arrow because it was stretched.
And it's rusted real bad.
This is wire that has been taken down and bent into shapes and like bent around, and then like it just looks like something that's supposed to catch up. That's all it is to it. It's crazy talk, but like some of those broken bottles look like they're there to dissuade you from coming in one way or the other, and it's weird.
Ray Roberts says, are you able to play back what sounds you catch? Maybe it would draw it in. This is something we've thrown around a couple of times to take some of these weird vocalizations that we record and possibly play them back for whatever is out there. What do you think about doing that?
We're thinking about it. We are thinking about it. We are thinking about, I don't think you're fooling any of these things. When we were in the Uwaris with MK Ultra and something was whooping outside the campsite and I whooped back.
And made some poor whoops.
I did some really poor whoops. That wasn't fooling nothing. And it did whoop back, but then it gave like a chatter, like three little chatter sounds. And it sounded like irritated, like it knew I wasn't whatever it was. And it was just kind of ticked off. And then it started moving away. So we might do it, but I'm not going to, if I do it, I'm not going to do it with the expectation of that we're going to fool it. Whatever these things are, and you can apply that to any of the random weirdness that's out there. People tell us all the time, you just need to put up a fake tent with mannequins.
And bacon.
And I'm going, whatever is out there is obviously intelligent enough to avoid detection, official detection up till now.
I don't think we're fooling it.
We're not fooling it with anything, okay, that is tried out there. You were going to have to maybe hope that it's extremely unlucky or that it just does whatever it wants to do. But I've never approached.
Who's to say it's not observing the mannequin setup as well?
Yeah, but I mean,
good God,
it's just not. I don't think you're going to fool these things. I don't think. And people are like whispering. I'm going, why? I see people in the woods all the time, just sitting there motionless, not saying anything, and you don't really get anything to show for it. Moving through the woods at night, acting normal sometimes doing this, sometimes bright white lights, sometimes red lights,
kind of varying the approach.
Varying your approach seems to stir stuff up, man. And we're exhibit A on that. Okay. Why am I going to stop? And trust me, I would love to be able to. I love it. Love to be able to. And the only place we've seen so far that's been like that consistently is the Uwaris. Where you can just, but here's at the end of the day, I don't want to just hear whoops. I don't want to just sit there and go, oh, there's another whoop. Great. There's more whoops. Let's try to like get a little deeper. And the only way you're going to get deeper is going after it, man. And hoping that it you know, you get exceptionally lucky and it gets exceptionally unlucky, or maybe it decides these things show themselves to people sometimes, you know.
Obviously, we have lots of.
Maybe we're going to
witnesses.
eventually piss it off enough, or make it curious enough, or
Where
just
you're
amuse
funny
it,
like this.
or amuse it enough that it decides to do just that. Okay.
Dark Star 9513 says, I wonder if psionics work with Bigfoot similar to how they communicate with the UAP. Sort of like a CE5 for Bigfoot
We've
kind of thing.
been talking about that for about a year and a half now, I think, doing a CE5 based particularly for the stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
And not just the stuff in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the main purpose of the Helmet project and Jesse's contact project is I mean, it'd be cool, but I just don't want to sit there and watch little dots of light move around in the sky, like, and stuff like that. I want, like,
you want the real deal.
I want the real deal. We want to try to get it, film it, bring it
Yeah.
back alive, show people what it is. And then show too that, hey, it's not just, you can do more than like summon these like lights in the sky. Maybe you can entice something to come in. And it's really cool because we've been using the beacon for a while now. It hasn't shown its face in a video for a bit, but we have a thing called the beacon. Some of you guys know what it is, and we've used it. It's been a few years now, but it's 4 electromagnetic pumps. So it's spitting out an electromagnetic field. There are signal generators shooting out a particular frequency, infrared beacons shooting out real high, frequency infrared light. And we have put that out. And we pulled stuff in with it before. When we did that on the Equinox, we left it unattended with a camera on it. Something comes up behind the camera and turns the camera off. You hear it approaching and then the camera goes out. But the camera doesn't. Remember the camera, how weird it went out? It just didn't turn off. It was like it glitched out.
Yeah.
But then it turned back on and had power. We thought maybe the battery had drained. That wasn't the case. It's almost like something turned it off internally, not by hitting the off switch. So... And it's on a tiny little monopod thing.
Yeah,
if you push the button, you shake it,
flip over.
see it shake. It didn't do that. It just turned off. Weird. But we've used that beacon a few times, and now there's a lot of talk of people, in the UAP community doing what's called a dog whistle, which, if you look at the specs of it, it's a bigger version than what we have. It's mounted on a vehicle, but there's a lot of similarities between the beacon, which we have, which is backpack portable, and then what they have, which is like, rigged up on like an ATV. So, all right, see what else we got here.
I'm still just scrolling down through here. Winkler knives. My dagger is a Winkler knife.
Okay.
I'm in my brain. I'm like, I'm losing it.
Bad brain.
I've got a bad brain, Joe. I got a bad brain.
Bad brain.
Oh, I'm having a day. You know what? Maybe the psychic power of the Bigfoot.
Yes.
What's interesting is, and you guys will see this in a later video, is when we're out there, we're down below that gathering spot. We're down the hill because you saw on the video that's up on this ridge line, and that ridge line kind of goes out and then drops off at the end. So that gathering spot is sort of at the end of this mini mountain peninsula within the peninsula that it's on. Down below that, we were down there hiking down this creek, and we were following this very strange trail of bones one night. And I had a very strange thought come into my mind, and it just popped right into my brain. And it was a voice. I could hear this voice in my head say, "Come here much?" And it was incredibly startling and incredibly strange. But that kind of makes me think, is there some sort of psychic connection there with whatever is out there? But you're not talking about a monkey in the woods if it's asking, are you come here much?
Yeah, no.
You've got a lot of elements there of a lot of weird stuff going on. And that's going to be a bizarre episode because we're out there, we find all these weird things in this path, and then I hear this voice in my head, which is sounds crazy as heck now that I'm talking about it.
Banana Town.
You know what? Speaking of Banana Town.
Show Banana Town.
I do have something funny to show you guys. Yeah. And I'll show you in one second.
We have a tendency to we don't like to curse on our shows, even though if you watch some of our earlier field investigations, there was cursing in there. It gets tense, you know what I'm saying? But at the same token, we also realized that we had like kids who like to watch our stuff. And
Gigs.
I thought it was a reasonable thing to maybe not curse as much. So if we do let them slip nowadays, Jesse kind of like cuts it, you know. But we started to use the word bananas, and so we've probably done it 10 times tonight. We'll just go, that's just bananas. It just kind of became a thing that has carried over into our day-to-day average lives. And a few weeks ago, Jesse said, what did you say? Going to Banana Town?
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think I was prefacing something. I was like, okay, this is where the story or whatever the theory we're talking about starts to get really weird. I said, all right, are you ready? Let's go to welcome to Banana Town. So I did this today. Welcome to Banana Town.
And the little Bigfoot has a Hellbent Holler. Hellbent Holler shirt on. Look at that.
Cute?
So
I did make a dang t-shirt out of that, by the way.
I mean, star that real quick and we'll get back
You can go ahead to that.
But yeah, welcome to Banana Town.
I just thought that was cool.
You ought to put that on a t-shirt.
I did.
Is it up there?
I did put it on a t-shirt. Yeah. I was about to post it in the Discord. You go ahead and do that. I'll pull this up and I'll put the link on the chat.
Merchandise in there. Chris has got a good point. That sounds like a creep hitting on you here. Hitting on you. Come here often?
Yeah.
Or come here much?
Yeah, it does.
That's weird, man. I don't know, man.
Come here much? Yeah.
And that's not something you'd expect given what we were doing. It's just, I don't know.
Isn't that weird? I don't know. This is why this is all still a mystery to all of us, isn't it?
Nutslap is the official mayor of Banana Town.
There you go. I did put it on a t-shirt.
So
there you go. And it comes in military green and black.
Oh, there you go. You got a green one?
Yeah.
I might order a green one. So
you could be the Duke of Banana Town.
The Duke of Banana Town.
City boy.
City boy, Banana Town.
You're the man of
Banana City.
Banana City.
Yeah. Anyway, so Blackthorne, there's a lot more weird stuff to come. We have been kind of dividing our time between the Uwaris and Blackthorne right now.
Yeah.
We had to kind of pull out of Blackthorne a little bit just because it was like a little overly intense a couple nights. And we were trying to like, it's that area is, it's a troublesome area to try to get out of. It's hard to traverse at night because of the wells and the barbed wire and all the stuff in the trees and the sharp metal poking out and everything like that. It's hard to traverse at night. And there's like very limited areas to drive through in there. I don't want to say too much and give too much of the area away, but we have already got so much weird happenings in there that it's just Jesse's got to just sit down and just edit them out. Because that's the other thing too, is we were spending so much time out there. We weren't really at home much to really edit the video down. And then we were like, all right, we've got to pull out a little and just share what we've got so far to kind of try to like show people. So we got a lot of backlog for it to come out at this point. So
I was going to ask one more thing. This is kind of unrelated to Blackthorne Lake or any of this stuff. Have you seen an update on the latest missing hiker at Table Rock?
Yes, this is what, the third or fourth one?
This is like the third missing hiker. In
Table Rock's near where we live at. And there have been a couple of strange disappearances there over the years. And we have had an outbreak of strange disappearances. People
missing without a trace.
Like no trace at all, no sight nor sound, or it's bizarre. And then I saw that new one had gone missing, but it's to the point now there have been multiple in a very short amount of time. And this is within an easy drive from us. Mm-hmm. There are people like on news story Facebook posts about these missing hikers going, is there like a serial killer like operating in this area? Like what's going on? It's somebody's like missing, here we go, because it's Mr. Booberry, missing 411 level. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it seems like there's a real pattern developing in that area. And there was one lady that was missing for a few weeks, and then that massive wildfire started up, and that completely just 86 any efforts to try.
This
to find
person
her.
went missing, and then we had a really bad rainstorm come in immediately afterwards, which is right in line with missing 411.
Yeah.
Almost every person that's gone missing up in there has been, and it's a popular place, which is what's weird. And you would think, well, there's more people, there's more opportunity to go missing. No, not really. There's more people. So that means there's more people there to offer you help. There's more people there to see you if you're in distress. There's more people up there. It's weird. We're thinking about trying to go up there.
Oh my God, Erebus.
What is that?
Pallades strikes again. It's dark.
Oh God.
David Pallades is going to come after us.
He's going to come after us. And Pork Chop's going, we should all do some missing persons investigations. Here's what you run into, though, is that it's hard to do that and not be ghoulish.
Yeah.
And like, there's a really interesting missing persons report that Jesse is like fascinated with, that we're going to maybe try to get in touch with their family, but we're going to be right up front and just go, listen, we want to talk to you about this. If you don't really want us to talk about it publicly, we understand we're not going to do it. So, and that's the other thing too, is that
if you guys have seen us at conferences, I talk about this particular missing persons report in our presentation that I did. And there's so many parallels with things that we found in these areas. The tent situation with his missing persons case. This gentleman that went missing, they found his tent. It was ripped open, just like that tent we found at the LBL, just like a tent we found elsewhere recently. But there's so many parallels with this stuff, and it does seem ghoulish to kind of connect these missing persons cases with these things. But if you start to see a pattern emerge, you can't ignore it.
Yeah. And we want to look into the Table Rock stuff right now, because there's a lot of missing people up through there. And people that have lived up there their whole lives, and their families have lived up there their whole lives are
Sunshine, you are not blocked.
It's how to do it, because here's the deal. Even if you're just looking into, we had, when we were doing, here's a kind of an example of what I'm talking about. When we started doing the werewolf experiments, Jesse had this awesome opening, and it was just covering some of the weird stuff that's happened in and around the LBL, including people going missing, weird disappearances, weird deaths, people being found dead for no apparent reason. Yeah. And we actually had the widow of a woman reach out to us. Widower reach out to us and go, could you please take my wife's information down? She did not die because of a dogman. And we weren't saying that she died because of a dogman. That was not the impression we were trying to give. It's just that there's a lot of weird dark stuff and disappearances that happen in here. And he was still like, I'd still really rather that she not be on a video like this. So we took it down. We cut that little clip of the video out. We went through and edited it out and went amongst our day. So we'd like to do some of this missing people thing, not to capitalize upon the missing aspect, but because there seems like there's a mystery there. It's just, we've got to be able to do it and like look ourselves in the mirror afterwards, if that makes sense. So
yeah, Sunshine asked, she thought she was blocked. Have you been to the Appalachian Mountains?
We are in the Appalachian Mountains.
And I am from Western North Carolina. Joe's from Virginia. So we are from the Appalachian.
Southern Appalachian Mountains are
that's where we at.
That's where we at.
Eliminathan 79 says, did they happen to go missing by boulder fields? That trail up through there is full of massive boulder fields. You and I have not been up there in a very long time. I don't know if I want to go back up there.
All right. Guys, we're coming up. We're past
the hour. Past the hour.
We're going to wrap it up here in a second. Let me get to the bottom of this chat here.
Get to the bottom of the chat.
So, big deal is that we are going to...
What's the big deal?
There's a big deal.
Hey. Look at that right there. Welcome to Banana Town, boys. Population, you. Although, I will say, I was pretty stoked about that. But look at that. I got it in green, kids. Welcome to Banana Town, boys. All right. Back to whatever important thing you were saying.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Anyway, so I'll be on the Small Town Monsters live stream Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, with me and Aaron talking about the LBL, Dogman, various misadventures. Some of you guys could kind of pop on there. I'd like to see some familiar faces in the chat. It'll make it a little bit easier being on there solo. So,
Yeah.
So
you won't have me here.
My
just
foil
orchestrating this.
Yeah. So we got that. And then Jesse will be kind of hammering away on the next Blackthorne video.
Yeah.
To kind of like watch this all kind of unfold as it goes along. So anyway, I don't know, man. So that is it, guys. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you all so much. And like I said,
I think somebody mentioned earlier, let everybody know what hotel to book in Gallenberg. We don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear back from that, but I'll let everybody know about that. But yes, make sure if you want to start planning that, if you want to come and hang out with us and come and see us.
I do want to say this, though.
That
again, we're kind of like breaking the mold at this point. Okay. We're starting to do these like conferences, and we're not going to do a lot. We don't have time for a lot of them, but we're independent people. We're really into it. We're actually people that are into it. We're into it every bit as much as you all are. So it's not just people that are paid to do it for a few hours, like we talked about earlier. So when they announce us on the Facebook page, when they actually do the Hellbent Holler like announcement, if they do one, but like they've done for everybody else, bombard that, man. I'm not even ashamed to ask. Bombard it, and if y'all could like it and make some comments, show like all of these people out there that there's like an actual demand for real investigative stuff and not just like entertainment on TV. You know, and the only way to do that is to make like your voices be heard. So we'll probably post it when it goes live, and if you guys could do that, just take a couple seconds of your time, be very grateful. So
like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Make sure you share the notification when that goes out for that event. I'm going to share that on Facebook whenever they have the one that is specifically geared towards announcing us being at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot conference. I'll share that out. You guys make sure you like it, comment on it, say how excited you are to see City Boy and myself grace the stage of the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot conference. And we will let you guys know some details about what we are going to be doing up there. And with that, we're also going to be at Tennessee Wildman later on in the year.
That's the last one for the year, and that might be the last one we do for a while. So
the last one forever. We're not sure. Depends on what happens. What?
We bring the monkey with us. Pork chop. He's a poet. Anyway. Is it Moet? Moet? How do you pronounce it? Moet? Where we go, we bring the monkey with us. So, all right.
All right, guys.
Folks, we are done.
We're done here. Thank you guys for joining us for Hellbent Live. And if you guys have not watched that video yet that I released on Saturday, Secrets of the Blackthorne Bigfoot, make sure you go and check that out. It is chock full of audio, like the audio that I played for you here tonight. We don't know what it is. Don't leave angry comments about elk. But we don't know what it is, but we captured some crazy stuff, and it's pretty consistent. We're just trying to share our evidence with you guys. Just share what we get. Just observe and report. But go check that video out if you haven't already. It's on our page there, and keep an eye out for new releases from Hellbent Holler. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell your brothers. Tell your sisters about Hellbent Holler. We appreciate you all. We appreciate our members for being with us so long. We have some of those old school OGs in the house tonight. We want to thank you guys especially. Thank you guys. Have a great night. Joe, you got anything else?
I got nothing.
He's got nothing, per usual. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Good night, all.